Madam Toastmaster, fellow club members, and honored guests. I grew up in a small town in eastern Pennsylvania, about 60 miles north of Philadelphia. And I don't know what it's like down here in the South, but up there, in the fall, hunting is a religion. The first day of deer season, they might as well close all the businesses, close the schools, because none of the men are there. They're all out in the woods. They left before dawn to go out and find their tree stands, and when it's time for work or school to start, they're still sitting out there. When I was growing up, I heard my uncles and my cousins and my older friends talk about the trophies that got away. You know, those were the bucks with the rack that was this big, 16 points. But the trophies that were actually on their wall, the racks were only about this big, maybe 6, 8 points. That's what they really shot and killed. Well, I couldn't wait until I was old enough to go hunting. In Pennsylvania, you have to take a hunter safety course before you're allowed to get a hunting license and go out and shoot things. So when I turned 12, I begged my dad, I said, please take me down to the gun club for the hunter safety course. So we went down to the National Rifle Association sponsored hunter safety course, and I learned all about how to shoot a rifle, clean a rifle, load a rifle, and I got my certification card. Well, you take your certification card and you go to the office that issues hunter's licenses and you get your hunter's license. Well, that first year I got a license for small game and a license for deer. And small game season starts first. So the day the season opened, my dad and I put on all our warm clothing, grabbed our shotguns, and left the backyard and crossed the field behind our house on our way to the woods. Well, as we're going through the field, all of a sudden, there goes a rabbit. They're in season now. I can shoot that rabbit. So I brought my shotgun up, blam! And the rabbit just kept on running. My dad says, well, don't worry about it. There'll be plenty of other rabbits. We haven't even gotten into the woods yet. So we trudged into the woods, and of course, being the clumsy 12-year-old that I was, I'm tripping over logs and twigs, and my dad turns around and he looks at me and he says, shh, we're hunting rabbits. And you don't want to scare the rabbits away too early, or you'll never get close enough to them. And then he looks at me and he says, what's that on your nose? There's blood all over your shirt. Your mother is going to kill me for letting you get hurt the first time we go out hunting. Well, what had happened was, when I brought the shotgun up, I didn't get it firmly in my shoulder. And I had it up here, and the shotgun kicked me in the nose. And because my nose was already freezing, I didn't even realize that I was injured until my dad turned around and looked and saw all this blood coming out of my nose. So he says, well, we better turn around and go back home. So we get there, and my mother looks at me and she says, what happened? Jim, what happened? He says, well, the rabbit went out in front of Jason, and he brought up the shotgun, and he missed the rabbit, and the rabbit got real mad, and he came back and punched him in the nose. Well, my mother wasn't buying this story. She said, we got to get him to the doctors. His nose might be broken. I don't think his nose is broken. It still looks pretty straight. said, we got to take him to the doctor's. His nose is going to be all disfigured. We got to get him to a plastic surgeon. So my mother went out, and we actually did go to the doctor's. And the doctor cleaned up my nose, and he looked at it, and he said, you just got a little cut. In fact, Russ, you probably can't even see the scar that I've got on my nose from when that happened. And my mother said, well, you got to put stitches in it. No. If I put stitches in it, it's probably going to leave a scar bigger than it would if I just left it alone. So he just put a butterfly Band-Aid on it and sent me home. Needless to say, my mother said, that's the last time you're going out and hunting Wabbits.